Head over to miniaturemarket.com. They have thousands of board games at discounted prices like Power Plants. Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today I'm joined by my friend
Greg Dixon, thanks for having me.
Today we are going to be growing up plants, some of them that look like Audrey 2, Venus flytraps. They're gonna be growing, they're gonna be roots that are growing around, and essentially it is an area control game. So let me show you how it works and I'll see you on the other side. Each game of Power Plants is different with different types of plants, and each of the plants have different abilities. Here's some of 5 that you might be using in a specific game. So here's each of those plants as cards that have the different abilities, but the same tile can actually be a slightly different plant with some advanced abilities that are a little bit more complicated and harder to grasp for advanced players. So there's lots of replayability here, and there's tons of these. So you can mix and match. They give you different ways of being able to do it to keep it balanced, but there's basically unlimited replayability here. Now the game will start with a randomized 5 patches, one of each of the different types of patches out there. On your turn, you'll have 2 tiles in front of you, randomly from a bag. It's a really nice cloth bag, and you draw tiles from there. You'll have 2 of them in front of you that everyone can see. On your turn, you're gonna place one of your tiles, and you sort of just place them next to adjacent to any of the things that are there. Then you've got a couple of options. Now I'd put this wizard on that tile that I placed. And I can either, because since this was the tile I placed, I can either choose the powerful single sprout power of that plant, which by the way, this always allows you, if it has this here, allows you to put one of your sprites on there. And so that allows you to place it where you place the wizard there. Now this essentially is area control, because right now I have one, nobody has anybody else, I control this. Nobody controls this. This is one field because it's the same type of plant there. So I'm essentially controlling this entire field because I have one here, nobody has one there. So this allows me to place 2 sprites on one patch and 1 sprite on another patch as long as they're in a straight line from where I placed the wizard, which is the tile I placed. This is great. I'll take 2 of them and place them right here because now, look at this. I'm winning this patch 2-0. I'm winning this patch 1-0. So I really am winning this whole field 2 tiles to none, or 2 patches to none. And you want to control the bigger fields of the same patches at the end of the game. It's going to give you the most points. I still get to add 1 more. It just needs to be in a straight line. It could be in the same line or not. Then maybe I want to put this one here, for example, and that would be my turn. However, instead of doing that, I could have taken the grow power of all of the surrounding patches. So if I placed the wizard here, I could have done the grow for this and this. So it would have been these 2 powers. This one would have just allowed me to place 1 sprite in a line, so something like that. The other one would allow me to add 2 gems to a patch next to the growing emberwood. And so I could have put, next to that. So I could have put this one maybe, over here, for example. Now gems are interesting because gems are essentially points at the end of the game. And so if you have these, if you control those at the end of the game, you're going to get those gems. That's additional points. It makes that a little bit, more contagious that you want to go in there and get those. So that's it. You're going to place a tile, place the wizard on that tile, and do either the single strong sprout power of that one, or the weaker grow power on all of the ones that touch. You choose 1 or 2 of those things. That's pretty much how the game goes. And then you just basically draw another tile, put it in front of you, it's the next player's turn. So then maybe the next player places this one here, and they decide to use the sprout power of this, which it says capture 1 rival sprite from a patch in a field next to the wizard. This is a field next to it. They're going to capture this. This is going to be placed, they're going to basically capture them. It's going to be worth points to them at the end of the game. And now they're going to place a sprite on 1 patch to that field. So now they're going to do something like this. So now this one has 2 and this one has 1, but it doesn't matter because this one is winning this one is winning this one. So neither player, they're basically tied for area control for this field because it's basically tile for tile. It doesn't matter how many you have, as long as you have the most on a tile, you're winning that tile or patch, but this is one big field and we're sort of tied 1-1. Now at the end of the game, if you were tied, you'd look at the number and whoever has the lower number would win it. So if it ended right now, I would be able to score this and that's basically two patches big. And at the end of the game, depending on how big it is, this one's 2, first place would get 3 points, second place would get 1, third would get nothing. But if you make a really big one, like 6 patches, and you control it, you're gonna get 11 points. So you're trying to make these larger patches and then be able to control the most ones there. Like in this one, this is a huge patch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, but yellow only has 3 sprites, less than total of this one, but it controls 3 patches. This one only controls 2, so this one's in first place. Now, anytime you add one, for example, if you were to add one here, instead of adding it, you would take away the one that's there. So that's sort of how it is. There's only one player's sprite on any tile at any given time. And that's pretty much it. You're placing a tile, picking the sprout power or the grow powers, next player's turn. And that's all you're doing, and you're trying to do area control, and the game ends once all the tiles run out. I believe it's about 11 turns for a 2-player, and 9 and 8 turns for a 3 or 4-player game. It's pretty quick, but again, all the different ways of playing this game with all the different types of tiles and plants and abilities makes this game have unlimited replayability. So in a nutshell, that's how you play. And just in case you want to take a closer look at all the abilities of all the different types, these are all the basic plants for the different types. You can pause it and look at these. And here's all the advanced versions of those 8 different plants. Remember, you're only playing with 5 different plants each game. And again, depending on whether they're in the nighttime or the morning or the afternoon, like, there's different ways that it tells you to kind of balance things and use certain amounts of different types and things like that. But feel free to pause and check these out. Now, before I get to my final thoughts, I want to tell you about a way that you can save money on your cell phone bills with Mint Mobile, who's sponsoring these final thoughts. Now, you may have seen the owner and actor Ryan Reynolds and his funny commercials about how Mint Mobile offers premium wireless for as low as $15 a month without sacrificing any coverage, speed, or data. Now, they're built on the nation's largest 5G network. They keep costs low because they sell direct to you online, and they cut out the retail stores and salespeople's. You can scan the QR code or go to mintmobile.com/GameBoyGeek to check out this great offer, all while helping support my channel. All right, well, there's power plants, how you play it. Kids table board games, every time they come out with a game, you just look at the box cover, you look at the art in the game, and you're just drawn to it. They just know how to make stuff look amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this cover. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, and if you played any of the other stuff like Fossilis or the Creature Comforts game, they're all really cute, really beautiful.
Yeah.
And high-end productions with like extra cool components, like the tiles in this, if you get the nice version, are super thick. I mean, they're great productions and they're affordable.
And they are known, they're called kids table board games. These aren't kids games, however, they are games that supposedly, older children can play, like 8 or 10 plus, I forget what this one is. This one actually says, 8 plus. So older children can play it, but also it's good for gamers. So it's like, it's in that middle way.
They're trying to straddle that line between gateway and like something that's going to engage seasoned gamers.
Now this one, probably, I think it's the thinkiest of all of their games.
This might be my favorite of all their games.
Spoiler, it's my favorite of their games too. So this is a pure abstract game. It's a pure abstract game that looks fantastic.
You build the board as you go by placing these hex tiles.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, the deluxe version of this game, the components are off the hook. And when we looked at the price of the game for this deluxe components, it wasn't bad at all. I think it was $34 on Miniature Market.
Yeah, all their games are crazy affordable. While you watch most games become like exponentially, like insanely expensive in this hobby lately, a little side rant here. These games are so crazy affordable.
Yeah, and I like in this game that the big thing here is you're placing a tile, and you're selecting one powerful ability on that tile, or a weaker ability on every tile that touches it.
Yeah.
So you can mess up and like set somebody else up like you to put a tile and get like 4 or 3 like not so powerful abilities.
We played it more than once. The last time we played it, someone set that up. I'd never seen 4 like that before.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to do yet, but I have to play there.
Yeah.
And you don't get a lot of turns, right? We figured this out, right?
But with 4 players, you get like 8 turns, I think.
I think 9 into 3 and 11 into 2.
Something like that.
But because each time you place, you could be accessing 2, 3, even
power.
4 of powers.
It works.
You feel like you get a lot done for only playing 8 times in a game.
Yeah.
Which I do like about it.
I mean, in the end, it is a basic area control game with many ways to manipulate it.
Well, and you probably talked about this already, but like the fact that you can mix and match the different abilities, right? Because you're gonna only play with like 5, but the box comes with a whole bunch. I can't remember how many. And they all have a flip side as well, like a more advanced way to play them.
It's amazing.
So you can mix and match it in so many ways. The replayability is kind of off the charts.
Yeah, and you can randomize or select, not only the plant lineup, but like you said, the backsides. Right. And it's huge because, again, you'll probably want to play with the same 5 plants for 2 or 3 plays so that you're really cemented in your head you could do it, and then start changing one at a time.
Yeah.
But then it's like, then you can pseudo randomize it. It tells you like how many of the certain types you should have and this and that. But then again, the advanced side, this game, and not only that, you can play the tutorial version, or like the beginner version, which is like you only play with the single power. So when you teach someone a game, you only have to teach them 5 abilities as opposed to 10.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, the first time we play, this is how it works. Play a thing, and then do that power.
Well, in that version of it, you really could play with pretty young kids.
Yes.
Right? You pick really simple abilities. You only do the one.
But I'll tell you, even with gamers, you won't even fully grasp all of what you can really do in your first play.
Well, because the map builds as you go, so there's like so many places you can play. So you have 2 to choose from and like 12 spots to play on.
Us gamers, normally we see advanced rules. So we would see a game like this. We'd open it up. We'd be like, beginner rules, no. Normal rules, no. Advanced, yeah, let's flip all the things to advanced, go. No. Don't do that with this game.
No.
This is probably the first game that I would say, even if you're a gamer, it's probably best to even play the beginner mode where you have only the grow powers. Because honestly, it really, I think that you'd be able, like,
there's still enough to engage you for sure.
There is enough to be like, okay, there's a strategy here, right?
But you can at least, most gamers would jump to, like we did, where you can access the weaker abilities.
Even by the end of that first game, you're still like, even with this player aid, which is great, you're still like, okay, I know what this does, but why would I do, like, you don't even get, this game has so much depth.
Do you think he likes it, kids? Do you think
and unlimited replayability. We've been talking about games that have unlimited replayability. This has it.
It has a lot of replayability, I agree. Do you think there's too much potential for AP, for analysis process, because there's so many places to build?
That is one of the negatives.
And it's only going to get worse as it goes because the map, you're building it with these hex tiles as you go, right?
It is. So it is.
By the end, sometimes, and I know with me at least, there are times where I'm like, well, there might be a better move somewhere, but this one gives me 3 versus 2. I'm just going to go here and then figure out kind of how I'm going to maximize
this game could, if you have a player that generally has AP, I probably wouldn't play this with them. Yeah. Because it is so thinky. There's one other big negative.
It's very thinky.
We've been gushing over this game. We both think it's their best game. It's if you like abstract games, it's amazing. I think it's best with 2.
Yeah,
we've played with higher player counts, but here's the deal. My other big complaint to this game is, really my only big complaint, and it's not enough to knock it down because I love the game. Turn order is super important in this game.
It's enough to knock it down a little bit for me.
You want to go last because in the last round, people are fighting over the biggest fields. In the higher player counts, like a 4-player one we just recently played, whoever goes last, like if you're going last, you get to basically do the last move of the game, and a lot of times you're fighting over the biggest patches, which has the biggest point swings.
So much of the game is someone does something, you play it, and you partially undo what they've done. And so if you're like me, I was the first one to go last, right?
Yeah.
So I did it, and then 3 people got to wildly change the board before it scored. And I'm just like, why did my last move almost didn't matter at all?
Okay, so the rules say in the last round, anyone that goes after you, for every one of your little sprites that get taken off, that's for your air control, you get 2 points. And I like that they at least attempted to do something to balance it. The problem is that in a 2-player game, that's not that necessary because you are invested in many other fields, right? Yeah. In a 4-player game, there's so much less going on that you basically are more focused on, like, your eggs are in less baskets. Yeah. So A, it's more brutal, and B, if you're going to go from like 11 points to 2 points on the last turn, giving you like 2 points for your 2 little sprints that got messed up isn't enough. I feel like this game should have been developed a little further for the higher player counts.
I agree.
There should be starting gems for like first player gets 4 gems, second player gets 3 gems, third player gets 2 gems, fourth player gets nothing, or something like that. Because in a higher player count game, the game will come down to the last round. Yeah. And sometimes it just doesn't feel good for whoever got booted.
I think it's frustrating to play a game that has so much going for it and to still, after done, go, what should we change? What if we did this? You don't want to feel like you're the developers in a game.
Yeah. Now, you don't feel like that as much in a 2-player game, which I think it feels like this game was designed.
2 players.
It feels like this game was designed for 2. Yeah. It works well with 3 and 4, but just that little last round thing is not as good with 4.
I think you like it more than me. It feels like the sort of game that I'd play anytime someone wanted to pull it out, but I don't need to own it. I think with pretty much the whole company, they're always good games, but never like that top tier game that you're like, I gotta have this, I crave playing this. And I think those little things that felt neglected really left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
For everything it has going for it, it's frustrating to feel like it's
honestly,
underdeveloped.
you would probably play this with 2 most often anyway.
Yes, I would.
Which was the best version of the game.
I would.
And you really liked the 2-player game.
Yes, at 2 it's very good. But it's frustrating that they couldn't translate that experience to 3 and 4 players better.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure people know that if they're going to consider buying it.
And for me, I realize that I'm probably going to be playing this 2 players most anyway.
Yeah.
So like for me,
really
it's not as big a deal. But if you're going to play it more players, that's that. So up until this point, their best game for me was Food Fight, which was a 2-player abstract, fun little game.
I feel like I played
and
that
this is now eclipsed as my favorite game of theirs.
This is their best one of the ones I played. I haven't played them all, but
there you go. There's Power Plants. Game Toppers not only transforms your existing table into a high-quality gaming solution, but they now offer full leg kits and dining cover solutions for the full table application. Paired with over 20 styles of thematic game mats in 11 different sizes from notable board game artists like Vincent Dutray, collapsible cup holders, and real cool accessories, experience what thousands of other gamers enjoy by upgrading every game you play with a Game Topper system. Save hundreds of dollars on Game Topper package deals that are in stock now for immediate shipping at GameToppersLLC.com or click the link below.